Hi, y'all. How are you? I hope you're doing good today. It's a rainy day where I am. Well, there sure is a lot going on, or a lot's being said about Dawn and Candace and the boys. The more we hear about them, the more troubling it is for me. So, Sharon was back on Benny Key's channel. I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before, talking about her being on a FaceTime with Candace when she was really high. And Candace is feeling her legs and her body to make sure it was still there, feeling things inside Kathy's house to make sure they were real. Mind you, there's Kathy's daughter, or I believe child, rather, we'll just say that, there, witnessing all of this. It doesn't sound like she was on marijuana by any means. I don't exactly know what drug would make you behave that way, or wonder if your body parts were still there, or if objects in the room were real. I just don't know what that could be. Candace was in the chat and she called her out saying that she was lying. And honestly, I don't believe Shannon was lying about that at all. And during that conversation, when Candace was blitzed out of her mind, she went on to tell Shannon about the letter that we've talked about, the one saying that she wasn't getting the boys back. And Shannon was concerned, saying, oh gosh, well, you don't know that that's true. Don't you have to go to court and blah, blah, blah. And she said no, she had talked to her caseworker and she was giving up. She wasn't going to try anymore. That's a sad place to be. But I have to say that all the issues that Dawn and Candace have right now in their plate is a direct result of their behavior and things that they've decided to do with their life. Sadly, 4 children were right in the middle of it. Just talking about the 4 they had together. It's really sad that a mother can just give up and say, well, I'm just done trying. You don't want your kids back. Maybe it's absolute and she doesn't get a chance to get them back. And maybe that's her way of coping. I don't know. But I think that she has a real disconnect that I can't relate to at all. Shannon had told her that Andrew, her first child, was wanting to get in touch with her. And her response to that is, F him. How do you do that? I mean, we know she took the kids herself to social services and dropped them off, so she didn't want them either. That's sad. How do you give birth to a child and just discard them like that? It's just way more than my brain can handle. I can't figure her out. I don't even think I don't think it's possible. I think a case study needs to be done on Dawn and Candace myself. I'm not sure what their disorders are, but and it could be in part the lifelong drug addiction that they've had to some hard drugs. I mean, you remember Grandis said about 7 years ago she had to get her off of heroin. So who knows what she's on now, you know? And you know, Grandis, we've talked about Candace's oldest daughter having reached out to her. I did a story about it a little while back, and she was very cold to her too. Didn't want to talk to her either. Grandis confirmed that. And she was asked, why do you think that Candace has been away from the house for this long? What, about a month or so now, I guess? And apparently, Candace said that she didn't want to be around her mother. She doesn't want to do anything for her. And Shannon did ask Grandis if she had ever witnessed seeing Summer in the shower with her father or anything inappropriate. She said she hadn't really seen it firsthand, but that Candace started putting Summer in the kitchen sink and bathing her. So I wonder if it got really bad, and that was one way to keep Summer out of the bathroom with her dad. I don't know. Trigger warnings. And I was listening, several days ago, I guess, to Cam and Allie, because I'm interested in what Benny Keys and Allie and Cam are saying now, and Shannon, because these are people that have been supporting them wholeheartedly for 9 months at least. And every one of them have turned on Candace and Dawn. And there's a reason for that. They began seeing things, I think, that we see, but they were directly involved in their lives. So, you know, if you're listening to the web of lives that they spread, you know, I guess, and you want to believe that they're innocent and haven't done anything, that it might be a little harder to see things as clearly as us on the outside. But Cam was telling a story about he was up at Candace's house, and him and his wife were going to go try to find this tunnel and just kind of like search that area. And he was like, hey, Candace, do you know where this tunnel is? And she responded by saying, I don't know. I don't care. They're not going to find her. Wow. That really just caught my attention and was so alarming. It's like, how do you, I just don't understand not caring. I don't know. And these kids have been living, well, we saw the conditions of the home when Chris McDonough went in there, but Benny Keys gave some insights that were shocking to me. He told a story about, and he ate there at the Wells house, that Candace had made some spaghetti and left it on the pot or in the kitchen in the pot all night. And the next day, she took it and slung it out into the yard, didn't wash the pot, and began cooking more spaghetti. That's so unsanitary. And with the roaches that are crawling around, it's a miracle these kids don't have some kind of disease from it. And even worse than that, so we know they don't have or didn't have a wall to the bathroom, but they would have a 50-gallon trash can, like an outdoor trash can, 50 gallons. And Dawn didn't want anything flushed down the toilet other than feces and, urine. So they would take the toilet paper and just throw it into that 50-gallon trash can. Can you imagine? I just, in my mind, I just picture this overwhelming odor in that house. So unsanitary. That's such a health concern for anyone that's there. Gosh. Shannon did ask her about the septic system, and there's been some people speculating that Summer's there. I never personally thought she was, but it's underground with a 3-inch concrete slab on top of it with grass over top of that, is what Candace told. That they never have ever once opened that up. I guess it's never been cleaned or, emptied. And that the water was sulfur water, which we've suspected because, was it True and Allie, I believe, both said that their water smelled. And that's pretty common with well water. There's a lot of times, you put filters on it. I guess they don't have that, but anyway. Shannon got involved just because she believed in them. She wanted to believe that they were innocent. But as time went on, she said, and I'll quote her. She said, after all the lies and games, that she was sitting there thinking, what if I broke bread with someone that may have harmed their children? That would be a very surreal epiphany to start to second guess your good intentions and realizing that these people are playing everyone. But besides the living conditions and losing their children, I'm sure that had part to do with it. Cher and Ziggy shared a live that was pretty disturbing, even more so than the living conditions. Dawn and Candace had like 3 phones each. And why do you need 3 phones? that tells me that you have one for your life that most people see. Then you may have one for any kind of dealings, drug related or what. And then maybe one for your private dark life. Makes me think that, anyways. And it makes me wonder if the police got all of the phones. And I really do wish that whatever information was on Dawn's phone, that Tim Mullen would put it on a disk, put it on a thumb drive, and take it in to be looked at. That I wish he would, because Dawn was running pretty rampant before he went to jail, So you don't know really what could be on it. I don't know who this came from, but someone had sent Ziggy some information that possibly Jody, Sue, and Andy are being investigated for drugs. Apparently, allegedly, speculatory, Jody Sue was selling pills to Candace, and Andy was selling meth to Dawn. And do you remember we heard some rumors about, Andy and Jody Sue didn't want to let the police on the property? Well, it had been relayed to Ziggy that Andy and his mom were completely cooperative and agreed to the search, but Jody Sue was really against it and avoided the police and didn't come over to Dawn and Candace's house until after midnight. And I know we've all heard that, and I never knew if it was true, so I really didn't talk about it much. I think I did mention it at one time, but that it was said that Robin was supposed to babysit Summer that day, and it fell through. So I don't know if that means anything, to be honest. I don't even know if it's true. If I knew that were true, it would make me wonder why Candace needed a babysitter. And I told you I heard rumor that Dawn was in church as a kind of community service, which I can believe. But Dawn and Candace would sometimes drive to church in separate cars. And Robin told Ziggy when she was there that Candace would sit outside smoking cigarettes most of the time during church. And I'm going to bring this up just because I too have thought Tim Mullins, it still doesn't make sense why he got involved. I'm hearing rumor, and I don't know that it to be true, that he is somehow related to the Rhodes, Dawn Wells' stepfather's family. I don't know if that's true, but Cher had been talking to Scott Rouse from the behavior panel, and she asked him, what do you think about Tim Mullen? Because she's been feeling he was kind of sketchy too. And he told her that he seemed very professional and felt like he was sincere. And she asked him the question, "Do you think we're being too hard on him?" And his response was, "Harmless, I promise." Now, I don't know that I would go so far to say that, but you know, he just may be a die-hard, innocent until proven guilty. But just to me, like the behaviors that Dawn and Candace have shown us all, they seem guilty of a lot of things. Incredibly. And, we know that Dawn and Candace have bragged on the fact that they have passed their polygraph test, which is not actually true. It actually, and I don't know where this for sure information came from, but apparently they took benzos to try to alter the lie detector. Dawn was tested positive for meth. Candace failed for crack cocaine. The lie detector was inconclusive. You can't test somebody who has drugs in their system. It throws the results off. There was also something that I thought that caught my attention on Savage Live. There was a video posted, and I believe there's a couple other people that have posted the video. But it's between Candace and Ernie, and apparently this video has been deleted. But of course, you know how YouTube is. People are quick to record things. But he was kind of being tough on her, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. He did bring her to tears. She was telling him that she had been on the phone with Dawn and had been told by him that he apologized for the things that he's done and that he loves her. And of course, he's trying to get her to stay on his side and stay in communication with him, and whatever the story they've concocted to try to stick to the script, in my opinion. But he was actually yelling at Candace. Ernie was yelling at her because just trying to like shake her, make her wake up, just yelling at her about the history of abuse that Dawn has on people, children, and other people, including her. And he's telling her, "Come clean, just come clean, set yourself free." And of course, knowing Candace, that hasn't happened. It didn't shake her. She didn't confess to anything. She's like, "You've got to understand, I've been married to him for 14 years. And he was like, "That's nothing when it comes to your missing daughter." I actually agree with him. If my daughter was missing, and she says she doesn't think or know anything about Summer's disappearance, but if she knows something and she's keeping that, I just can't wrap my head around it. My child, my children come first. I would protect them with my dying breath. I'm going to give y'all a trigger warning. this next information that's come out, and we've talked about it. I actually did delete a video because I upset a few people by talking about the boys. I had touched on this. You know, you hear Benny and Cher from Voices Behind the Walls say that it took a toll on them, that it was draining. Cher was having nightmares. And they both say it would be from the time they got up to the time they went to bed, just exhausted by the games and the lies and all of the things that they would go through on a daily basis with Dawn and Candace. So I give you trigger warning again, because this is very upsetting. Very, very. So we know the allegations of SA with Summer, but it has come out by someone that is close to the situation, but it is not the foster parents themselves. So it is being said that Candace was the culprit and have been assaulting the boys and all of the children. All of the children were SA'd. She would grab, hit, pinch their private areas. Infuriating. Repulsive. It infuriates me to no end. These children have just been put through the ringer. They've been hit with pokers, like a fire poker, the metal fire poker. Shoes, they've been punched, their hair has been pulled. These little boys are traumatized. And I've said it before that I think Summer saved them. Hopefully, they can get help and not carry on with the abuse that these two families have been going through for generations. I pray that they do not carry on in their parents' footsteps. They are getting counseling. I think some are struggling more than others. Wyatt is supposed to be really intelligent. But with everything these kids have been through, they have a long way to go. Grandis can't be around any of her grandkids. None of them. And I've mentioned that before. But one time when she was FaceTiming with the boys, Candace, she wanted her mother to say hi to them, and she went in her camper because apparently she is not allowed to speak with them either. That makes me think. Grandis is not, in my opinion, this innocent person that she likes to come off as. She's as guilty as Dawn and Candace, because you can't tell me that she has not seen this abuse over the last 14 years, 13. It's not true. They all protect each other at the expense of 4 little kids. They never stood a chance in that home. I'm thankful the boys are in a place where they can maybe get some help and turn their lives around. And Summer, where is she? I want to know where she is. Even if Candace and Dawn give up on their kids, we're not going to. We want to know where Summer is. She deserves to be found. These two people should be ashamed of themselves. They're despicable. It bothers me on a very deep level why SA in that family is so normalized. It's like nothing to them. They are sick. They are sick people who don't really deserve to raise their children. Unfortunately, that's not. I'm sure those kids love their parents. I've shared with you before, my mother had a friend who was horribly abused growing up, horribly, in every way, beaten, everything. And my mom went to her dad's funeral with her for support. And she was just crying and crying and talking about what a great man he was. And my mom was like, what? But that just goes to show that unconditional love that kids have for their parents, regardless how they're treated. It doesn't make sense. These kids are going to have anger issues going through dealing with all the stuff they've been put through. I just hope they get to a place where they can live in peace and move forward and have productive, happy lives. It sounds like they're in a good place. It sounds like the foster care families are taking care of them, and they're making friends, and they're going to school, and they're getting counseling, and they're catching up on their schoolwork from when they were behind, eating regular meals. Oh. I keep telling myself I'm going to stop huffing like that, but this stuff just, sometimes all I can do is just go, and put my head in my hands and just I can't believe the more we get to know them, just the worse it gets. And it's been bad this whole time. These people are such hardened criminals. I just wonder if anything's going to apply pressure enough to make them talk. But you know what? With all of these accusations that have come out, allegedly close to the boys, people that are close to the boys, and their names, I don't believe, no names have been released. But it makes me feel like there's definite charges in the near future for both Dawn and Candace. They failed these kids. They stunted their childhood. They stole their childhood. I just feel like there's definitely going to be charges soon for neglect, all of that. We may have to still wait on summer, but I just don't see how CPS and the police department can overlook all of these accusations, especially if any of them are true. And H is, maybe he doesn't realize it now, but he has been mistreated by this family as well. And then we heard Sherry on JLR's channel stating that she wanted justice for her grandkids because Dawn allegedly did the same thing to them and gave them alcohol. These are disgusting people. Horrible people. Drugs have come before any of their kids, their whole lives. They're raging addicts and don't care about anyone but themselves. Well, y'all, I'm so mad right now. It's just, that's all really hard to listen to. It's disturbing. But I believe justice is going to come, at least for the boys and H and Jeannie and Mary and the other 5. Well, I'm going to get off here. Leave your comments. I am curious how you feel. This has been very disturbing to me. Y'all have a good night. I appreciate y'all very much.